Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be talking about products that I wish I tried sooner. I was sleeping on these, I thought way too long about getting these, and then when I finally got them, I loved them. So I'm very excited about that. Let's get right into this video. So if you haven't been on my channel before, my name is Marley and I love making YouTube videos about makeup and beauty. I love doing looks, swatches, reviews, will I buy it videos, all those kinds of things. So if that sounds good to you, then don't forget to subscribe. I usually upload about 2 to 3 videos a week and I would love to see you again on my channel. So let's get into these products. Some of these have been in my collection for quite some time already, and some of these I got quite recently and I haven't even reviewed yet. So these are also kind of some updates on some of these products. Now let's start with these two palettes by Nabla. The Dreamy 1 and the Dreamy 2. These palettes I actually bought together on a sale on the Nabla website. They were like 1 + 1 free. It was such a good deal, and that was the moment I was like, I'm just gonna get them. But before them, I was just thinking about them for such a long time. I was just really unsure if I should get them. I was like, maybe they're a bit too expensive. I'm not entirely sure about the formula. I didn't know if I was gonna love it because I never really tried eyeshadow palettes by Nabla. And this Dreamy 1 also, I always thought it was really pretty, but I wasn't aware when this was released. I just wasn't really thinking of buying this one, even though I really liked how it looked. I also just felt like it wasn't special enough, maybe, that it wasn't gonna add enough to my collection, that it maybe was a little bit too much like other palettes that I already had in my collection. Then the Dreamy 2 was released, this palette, and I thought it looked so pretty, but at the same time I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do like full looks with it, because in photos this shade looked just a little bit too light, and then these shades, those two like bricky reddy tones, just looked a little bit too warm. So I was like, will I really use this palette if I buy it? Will it be perfect for me? I was thinking about it for such a long time. I was just like on the fence for months. I just didn't really know what to do. Sometimes it's just hard to decide if you haven't really like seen something in real life, haven't really tried the brand, haven't tried the formula. So I was really intrigued by this idea, but I wasn't like 100% sure. Then that sale came and I bought both of these palettes and I fell in love. At this moment, these two palettes are like 2 of my favorite palettes in my collection. This one I especially love wearing in like the fall and winter time. I think these are really appropriate shades for that. But the original Dreamy I just love wearing for every day. But it's also really like springy and summery palette for me. I just really enjoy these palettes. And I think part of that is just the different textures and the different shimmers that are in here. But for this one especially, I really love this shade and I just think it looks really nice if I combine it with one of these a little bit more deeper reds. Those aren't like really bright red. I still feel like they're quite wearable. I really love the shimmers in this one. It has some different textures, and this one is kind of like a multi-chrome type shade. It's not like extremely shifty, but it definitely has some different colors in there. There is some burgundy, there is some olive, and there is also kind of like some gold shift to it, and I think that's just really pretty. And the Dreamy 1, I just really love the mattes in here. I just really love reaching for this one, and this matte is just a perfect neutral matte for me. And I just keep going into these palettes. They're just so convenient. They just really do something to me. There's just something extra special here when I look at them. I just feel so inspired. This is like a neutral palette, but it has color in there. And this just really like speaks to my soul. This is just neutral but still interesting. I just love these palettes. I just love the textures in here. I just really enjoy these mattes. I just keep reaching for them. They're just something different, and I also think the packaging is just really cute. I really like this packaging. It's not too bulky and it just looks really nice. I just can't say enough good things about these palettes. Before this I never really tried Nabla, but after purchasing these palettes I really got into them because I was just so blown away. So another product from Nabla that I really slept on was this Nabla Skin Glazing highlighter in the shade Privilege. This is my favorite highlighter in my collection. This formula is just so beautiful. I'm wearing it right now. It just blends into the skin, melts into the skin. It doesn't lay on top. And this just has such a beautiful flattering color for me. It's just the right amount of peachy and pink, and it's just a little bit deeper than some of my other highlights. So it's kind of like at the same level as my skin tone, which is really glowy. I just love how this makes my skin look. When these first came out, I was like 22 euros for a highlighter. I'm not gonna pay that. And now I'm at a point that I would, but then I was like, nope, I'm just gonna look for a dupe. I'm not gonna go for it. I'm probably gonna find something else, right? That's what I was thinking. I bought another highlight that I thought was similar. But in the end, when I got this one, I don't know what made me actually decide to get this one in the end. I think maybe there was a sale or something. But when I got this one, I found out that that other highlighter was nowhere close to this one. This is just way more like warm and peachy than most highlighters I have in my collection. And I feel like this formula, there just isn't like a dupe for it. I have other highlighters that are also kind of like this Baked Gelée formula, but they are not at the same level. This is just the best Baked Gelée formula that I've tried. I just really love this highlighter, really enjoy it. I waited for so long to finally get it. And I get myself, I understand myself. If it's not in your budget, don't feel like you have to buy it. And I understand why I waited so long. But now that I have it, I know that it's worth it. And before I had it, I didn't know if it would be. So that's why I waited so long. So probably if I would have known that I would love it so much, I would have been more inclined to buy it, because then I would know that it was worth it. But of course, it's so hard to say sometimes when you just see things online if it's gonna be worth it to you. This one definitely was for me. Then this little eyeshadow palette by Colourpop, you've already seen in quite a lot of videos by me, but I'm sure you've seen it all over YouTube, because this is just such a popular palette by Colourpop. And I sometimes, when things are really overhyped, I tend to like not get it, or tend to be a little bit skeptical, tend to think maybe it's a bit overhyped. Do I really need it? Maybe people are exaggerating a little bit. Can it be that good? Well, it is. So I thought this wasn't gonna be anything special. I didn't think this was gonna change my life like other people said in other videos. I thought, I have neutral eyeshadows, why do I need this? This is just another neutral palette. Boy, was I wrong. This palette really blew me away. I mean, the shades of these mattes, like only the colors already, is really something different. Something that I don't have anywhere else in my collection. There's just something really special about these undertones. But also these eyeshadows are just really pigmented, really blendable, just really easy to work with. I really love this shimmer in the middle. It's just perfect. It's so beautiful. It has a nice texture to it. It's like shimmery without being chunky. This is just such a beautiful palette. It's so pretty. I love wearing this one. It doesn't have like the most versatility, but I can't get a similar look from other palettes in my collection. This just has the tones that I love. Even the shades that I thought would be a bit too warm for me have this particular undertone that it still really works. So I actually really enjoy this palette, and the hype in this case was right. It isn't overhyped, it is worth the hype, and I was just too skeptical. Sometimes you just have to trust people, but then other times you buy things because you trust people and everyone is hyping them up, and then you're disappointed. So it can go both ways. So another product that I had seen in so many videos are these lipsticks by Catrice. These are the Plumping Gel Shine Power Plumping Gel lipsticks. I had heard so many people loving these, but then when I actually saw them in store and swatched them in store, I was like, is it really that special? Is it really that shiny? Maybe it's not that shiny. I don't know. There was something about the lighting maybe there that didn't make them look the best. Just whenever I swatched them and looked at them in the store, I was like, maybe it's not that special. But then I actually got them for a review. I tried them and now I'm in love. So I have the shade 150. This is a beautiful shiny red, like a warm shiny red. It's almost a little bit corally. This is just such a beautiful shiny shade. And then I also have the shade 170, and this is a really beautiful neutral nude, also really nice and shiny. These two have a little bit of shimmer in them, which looks fine. I don't mind it, but there are also lipsticks in this range that don't have a shimmer. So if you want a shiny lipstick, a really affordable shiny lipstick, and you don't want a shimmer, that's also possible. These are just so nice. They feel really nice on the lips, really hydrating. They are so shiny. They don't really like slip around. Of course, they are not gonna stay on forever, but they just look so nice and they are so affordable. So I think I should have just gone for it. I should have just tried one and not base all of it on a swatch. A swatch isn't always gonna tell you everything. And that was definitely the case with these lipsticks. I could have tried these much sooner because these have been in store for years and I only got them like last month. These are just so good. If you're into a shiny sheer lipstick, definitely check those out. By the way, I just remembered that I forgot a product in the Nabla section. This is the Nabla Dreamy Creamy lipstick in the shade Eve. This is just such a nice liquid lipstick if you want something creamy, a bit shiny, something that looks really healthy on the lips, not matte, but does stay on quite well. This isn't a product that you should wear under a mask, but this is just really nice if you have more kind of like dry lips or you just want something creamy and shiny without it being like a lip gloss. This is kind of like a really pigmented lip gloss almost. And I also really slept on this formula. I'd heard so many people raving about it, but I just wasn't entirely sure if it was gonna be for me, if the shade was gonna be for me, if it was gonna be too warm or too light maybe, but I actually really like it. This is such a nice formula. I don't really recommend it in the darker shade. Like I bought the darker red, the shade Vicious. Didn't love that one. It kind of started bleeding outside of my lip lines and I just think it doesn't work as well in a darker formula, at least for me. I do like it in a lighter formula. I think this is really pretty. Then next up is this eyeshadow palette that I've been talking about so much. So I'm sorry if you're sick of me talking about this, but it's just so good and I just love it and it deserves a place in this video. When this first launched, I just wasn't sure if I wanted to get this, if I wanted to get this big pastel palette. Also, it was fall, so that was also kind of part of the reason that I didn't grab this one. But actually, I think I could have bought this one at that time because there are also some darker shades in here, some nude shades that I really love grabbing, that I really love using. I love doing nude looks with this eyeshadow palette, but I get why I waited to buy this until spring because it screams spring. This is just spring in a palette, but in general also the Glamlite formula just really blew me away. It's so great and I kind of wish that I tried this brand sooner. Like these shimmers are so pretty. Some of these are just so textured and special on the lid, but still like really pigmented. They are not like those toppery shades. I sometimes love them, sometimes don't. This formula just really is one of my favorite in my collection and I can't wait to try more of this brand. So in general, I just feel like I could have tried this brand sooner, but also just this eyeshadow palette. It's so great. I just love using this one. I just keep grabbing for it time and time again. So I was definitely sleeping on this one and this brand. Then this is one that's more like, if only I could have bought this sooner. And these are the Menagerie Cosmetics single eyeshadows. For a long time Menagerie didn't ship to the Netherlands and I was waiting for them and waiting for them. And from the moment that they could ship to the Netherlands again, I ordered these and I was just pining after these eyeshadows for such a long time. But if I had only researched this brand a little bit more, if I had only known more about this brand and just if I had known that they weren't gonna send out any product anymore outside of the US and Canada, then maybe I could have bought this earlier. But at that time I wasn't really into single eyeshadows and I definitely wasn't really into indie brands. That's something that really happened like over the past year. I've really been into indie brands. So if only I would have known, then I could have bought this before I had to wait for a year. I wanted these eyeshadows for such a long time and now that I have them, I'm so glad I have them. I'm wearing this shade, I think it's called Lily, on my eyelid as a shimmer on my eyelid and I just really love the quality of this brand. They are very soft eyeshadows so you have to be careful with them, but they are really pretty and they all have some really pretty shifts. This brand definitely didn't disappoint. If only I could go back and tell myself to pay some attention to indie eyeshadows. I think I've been sleeping on indie eyeshadows and indie brands for quite some time. Before, I never really wanted to buy anything from indie eyeshadows. Like a year ago, a little over a year ago, I really wasn't that into them. The only thing I bought was Give Me Glow, but also I just didn't want to pay the shipping. But now I've kind of accepted that if you really want something really special, that sometimes you have to pay a little bit of higher shipping to get the thing that you really want. And sometimes it's better to do that than get a thing that you don't have to pay the shipping, but that you don't want as much. So now if I have to choose, I would go for the special thing that cost me a little bit more to get here. So the last brand that I wish I had tried sooner is definitely Oden's Eye. I recently got some products from them. I already made a video about it, but I haven't really officially reviewed this brand. I have done a lot of looks with these eyeshadows for sure, and I've also tried the lip product that I have, the Elva Cream Lip Stain, and the blush that I have. This is the Water Lily blush. I've all tried those out quite a lot of times, and I'm really into this brand. This Norns eyeshadow palette, these shimmers at the bottom are so special. They are so pretty. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like some of these or all of these are multi-chromes. I heard people say that, but nobody really said what the ones were that were actually multi-chromes. But these shadows are so dimensional. They are so beautiful. They are really textured and shimmery without being like too chunky. They all have some special brightness to them because they have some different shifts in them. Really love these eyeshadows. I also got the Skuld eyeshadow palette. I feel like these shimmers are a little bit less special than the shimmers in the Norns palette, but I haven't tried this one as much as I've tried the bigger palette. But in general, I'm just really into this quality. I think this quality is just amazing. Also this flower blusher. In my review, I said that I wasn't entirely sure about the color, but at this point, I'm really into this shade. There's just something really special about this. It looks really bronzy. I just feel like a bronzed goddess when I wear this. I feel so fancy. It's definitely a different color than the other blushes that I have in my collection. It's just something really different. I was a little bit scared of that at first, but now I really love it. This brand has really blown me away, and at first I was like, I'm not gonna buy the Norns palette. It's probably not gonna be that special. I have other textured shimmery eyeshadows. I don't think it's gonna add that much. I was a bit unsure about the color story, but people were really hyping it up. I saw so many YouTube videos of people saying that it was so good, and I was like, yeah, sure, but is it really that good? I was just a bit skeptical. But then at some point I also realized this is a European indie brand. I don't have to pay high shipping, I don't have to pay high taxes, and it's pretty affordable. Like the Norns palette is like 29 euros. That's pretty good. That's really not that expensive, especially for the special shades. So I think I mainly feel like I should have tried this Norns collection first. When I look back at their other releases, I feel like they really stepped it up with this eyeshadow palette and this collection. I don't really feel like grabbing their older releases, but that's just like the vibe I get, the feeling I get from YouTube videos that I've seen. I just feel like this is extra special and they really stepped it up, and the packaging just looks and feels extra special. But if you have tried more by Oden's Eye, please let me know. Do you feel like this collection is a lot better? Then I don't think I should go back and buy all the releases, because then I think maybe I would be a bit disappointed, because this is just so special. So I think I'm just glad I got this. I'm just glad with the things that I have. Probably in the future, when they have like future releases, I will be a lot more interested. Yeah, I just have the feeling like they really stepped it up here. Like they're going in the right direction, and I'm mainly just really interested to see what they do in the future. And I think I shouldn't have slept for such a long time on the Norns collection. It has been out for quite a while, and I was just like, I don't need it. But in the end, I'm so glad that I got this, and I highly recommend these products. So yeah, that was everything for makeup. I wish I tried sooner. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like this video if you liked it. And then I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!